This video was supposed to be made a very long time ago. Hi, I'm Evan, and this is how I made a green lantern ring. This project has had a lot of reworks. But that's not why this video took so long. In fact, I only planned to film this video about maybe a few months ago. The reason it took so long is because I lost all the footage. Are you kidding me? Why? I had thought I completely lost everything. I couldn't find any of my original footage anywhere. But I found all the missing footage. I was cleaning out my drive and there it all was. I was so happy. So in this video, you're gonna see a mix of me looking different because I am different. It's filmed in 2 different time periods. But hopefully it's gonna put a congruent message on how I made this ring and maybe how you can make one for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into it. For this project, you will need the following. Bakeable modeling clay. I'm using the DAS Smart Clay. Sculpting tools, an X-Acto blade, a pencil, paints, I'm using the Deco Art Emerald and Peridot, Mod Podge, or some type of clear coat, LED lights, I'm using the OO Fighter LED lamps, wire, a soldering tool and some solder, and something to drill holes into the ring with. I'm using a Ryobi drill, but you can use whatever you have on hand. Essentially, there are 2 main parts to this build, sculpting the ring and then installing the electronics. Right now, I'm starting by sculpting the ring by rolling out a tube of this clay, which I will then put into my pasta machine that will flatten it out to the ring size that I need. If you don't have a pasta machine, you can use like a rolling pin or basically anything that'll get this thing nice and flat and ready to be wrapped around your middle finger. Next, I'm going to be taking my sharp X-Acto knife and I'm going to be turning it into 2 rectangles, which I will turn one of them into the base for the ring. As seen here, I'm going to be taking this thick rectangle of clay that I cut out and I'm going to be wrapping it around my middle finger. You want it to have it a little loose because I'm going to be installing the electronics in here, so that'll thicken it up a bit on the inside for me, so it'll have a nice snug fit. However, if you're not interested in installing the electronics, then you want to have it to where it's like not too tight, but also not too loose to where it can just slide off and be worn comfortably. Now I will be taking the clay and smoothing it out on the outside and inside to make a smooth circle. Next step is going to be repeated a lot. You're going to want to now bake your ring now that you have the base of it. I put it in my air fryer on the bake setting for 400 degrees for 1 minute. That way I'm not burning it or melting it. You can use an oven, just anything that will allow you to bake this ring. It's going to be a lot of baking it in increments. That way it's nice and hard that you can sculpt on. So yeah. You also want to be super careful. When you take your thing out of the oven or whatever you're baking it with, it's going to be really soft for a few minutes, so you're going to want to let it sit and cool down. I neglected to wait, so I kind of broke it, as you'll see in this next clip. But don't worry, I'll fix it. And you know what? Not everything's going to be perfect the first time, so don't get frustrated if it gets broken, because this project is kind of hard in some places. So as you can see here, it is broken from the air fryer, but that's okay. The process of crafting is a lot of trial and error until you get it right, so it's best not to get frustrated over it and just quit altogether, because then you won't know how good it can be. After all, you guys saw the many reworks that I did. So let's go about fixing this. Basically what I did is I had cut the damaged area out, especially since the ring was a bit too big for me, and I sized it down, and then I would proceed to cover it with clay and smooth it out, and then I would bake it again. This time I would let it dry completely before touching it, that way I won't break it again. And there we go. After adding the clay and baking it, it is now back to being together again, and it actually fits way better this time. Now we can take it and sand it to get it nice and smooth. This part of the process also takes a long time, but it's very rewarding. It makes the project nice and smooth and looks very professional. You don't have any bumps from the baking or burn marks from the clay. It's just overall a very good thing to do, and I wouldn't recommend skipping out on this step of the project. Costume change, I just took a shower. So now that we have it all nice and sanded, we're now going to finish the base of our ring by drawing on it. So notice how you have this little arc right here and right here. We're going to be creating that because we made our ring extra thick. Now we have enough space where we can sketch out the arc that we're going to cut off. The drawing on the ring should look something like this. Your front should have two corners arcing down, followed by a straight line all the way around, meeting the other side. Now, I'm going to take my X-Acto blade and carefully shave away the space that I need to make that arc. Now, it may look like I'm going very fast, but that's only because this is very sped up. When cutting this, you really want to go super slow so you don't wreck the project or hurt yourself. Remember, this is a very sharp blade and you want to handle it with the extreme care. Always remember to cut away from yourself, never towards yourself. Once you're finished, you should have something that looks like this. The outside is thinner, but the front of it has the original thickness of the ring. Now that we have the base completed, we can now take some clay and finish building out the rest of this project. Now with this part, you can have creative freedom. You can make it look however you want. There's a lot of different styles of Green Lantern rings or just lantern rings out there in general. Anyways, this is how mine turned out. It's circular, it builds off the ring, and I'm really happy with it. If you're not interested in doing the electronics and you just want to make a ring and you want to paint it, then you can stop right here and do as you please. But if you are interested in installing electronics, the rest of this video is about to get a lot more difficult, and good luck. If you are interested in installing electronics, you need to make one more thing on the ring and bake that, and that will be the spot for the pressure plate. I'll show an image for it, but basically what it is it's a flat piece without this cap. It's a flat piece that angles down like that, but is straight like that. And you'll have a small little hole at the back of it right there that'll lead out, and that will become the base for the pressure plate. To start, you're going to want to take your wire and then some pliers and pull off the plastic off of the wire. This will allow it to connect better to the LED and just trigger the light. The thing about lights is that there's always a positive and a negative side. So when you're putting that battery there to test out the light, you want to make sure that the battery is hitting the correct side. Otherwise, it's not going to light up. You especially want to keep this in mind when we're wiring the ring. Now, silly me, I forgot to film this part, so I'm just going to show you right now. The next part you want to do is you want to take whatever your drill tool is, and you're going to want to put 3 holes into the ring. 1 in the front and 2 on either side. This is how you're going to fit the light into the ring, how you're going to start with all the wiring. Yeah, it's very important. So what you want to do is just drill a hole at the center of the ring. The top should drop down, and then it should go out either side. The trickiest part is getting the light into the ring to prep for soldering. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take the LED, you're going to want to bend the prongs outward like that. Now this is going to be difficult to get into the ring because it's curved. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the longer side of either prong, put that in one side first, stick the LED in through the top hole, so it'll kind of be at an angle, and then you're going to want to take the shorter side, that way it can flow against the curve of the ring, and it will push out through the other side. Then you're going to want to take your fingers and flatten out the LED inside the ring, and it will look like this, with the longer side poking out more and the shorter side poking out less. And it should fit on your finger comfortably. Now that you have your wire, your solder, and your soldering tool all warmed up, you're going to want to be extremely, extremely careful. Now comes the really tricky part of getting the solder to fit onto the hook wire. Now this one's going to be the one for the longer side, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I forgot to mention that when you are cutting out the wire that you need, you want to make the ends have a little hook. That way it can properly latch on to the LED. And you're going to want to flatten it out so you'll have something like this, where it's just attached really closely. And now, I'm going to bring the solder a little bit closer down. You're going to want to take the solder and angle it like a hook, that way it just drips down onto the thing you're trying to solder. Now when soldering, it's important to try and not inhale any of the fumes. Work in an open space. I'm in my garage, I have the door open. Wear a mask. I neglected to do this and I kind of got a headache after, so don't be like me. Be careful, this is really, really hot. You will burn yourself if you're not careful. And also be careful not to burn the clay, because it is made out of clay and hot mixed with it will make it all charred and ugly and stuff. Alright, and it's attached. So you're going to want to do that to the other side, and it's going to be a little bit more tricky because it's the shorter side. So just be careful and do whatever you got to do. Now, congratulations, you now have a clay ring that looks like a bomb. Now that you have the wires super long like this, you have enough to position them in the right place. So for the this side, the shorter side, you're going to feed it through this little hole, that way it sticks in position. Just like that. And it's going to follow the little groove that we made earlier. Just like that. You're going to want to glue that down with some super glue, but we're not going to do that yet because we're still positioning. And then you're going to want to make a little fold at the wire, like that. And you're going to bend it down, and that's what's going to make the pressure plate that's going to sit the battery. Excuse me. And then with this one, as we can see with the first ring, you're going to feed it through the side, but then you're going to angle it up and create kind of a claw that'll press down and trigger the light with your finger. And your pressure plate should look something like that. Now we can take the battery, we can press the bottom right there, squish it down, like flatten the wire if you need to. We'll take this side, that will be the lever, and we'll lay on top of it like that, creating the light. You should have something that looks like this, where this will be the lever your finger will press on the light, and then a pressure plate right there. Now comes the easier part of this project. When it comes to installing the lights, we're going to take a hot glue gun, and we are going to make a little cap that will keep the light in place, because as you can see here, it has a cap piece. And then we are also going to glue the light in place. So we'll add a little hot glue dome, like we see on the other ring. And we're also going to add a little hot glue cover to the prong as well, as you can see on here, I hope. But what I had done is I added a hot glue cap, that way I wasn't poking myself on a loose wire, and I left the bottom of that prong open so I could still touch the battery. We are also going to take our super glue, and we are going to press these wires down or pull them or whatever you have to do to get them into the grooves, and we are going to glue them in place. Now after all of that hot gluing, you should have something resembling this, looking like this. The prong that has hot glue is thick at the bottom, that way it has structure, and then as it gets to the top, it's only at the top of the wire. The bottom of the wire is still uncovered, so when the battery touches the plate, the light still goes off. Now what we'll do is we'll go inside the ring, hot glue this, that way the wire doesn't scratch your finger, and then we will also hot glue a little bulb for it. After that, you should have the inside looking completely flat, and then just like smooth with the hot glue. And then the bulb should look something like this, nice and round. If it peaks up, that's okay. If you see on my original Green Lantern, it was a lot more flat, and this one's a lot more bowed out, but that's okay. It's just the room that was made for the ring. So you really got to be like knowledgeable of like how much space you're giving the LED measurements and stuff. I just guesstimate because that's just how I roll. Now we are going to make this hot glue cap for the top to keep the battery in place. That way it can fit snugly and it won't fall out. And here's what the bulb looks like. Lit up. But yeah, after that, that'll be the last step in So not only did my camera die, all my footage up until that point was pretty much toast. Everything after all you had just seen was completely gone, had no recovery of it, but that's okay. So I'm gonna do my best to explain to you what I do next. I'm gonna try to explain this to the best of my ability. This is the ring. This is like a sideways view, the light, and the pressure plate. With the pressure plate, you have it currently right now flat with the prong on the side. And now here we're looking at the ring like we're looking at it from the side. To make the cap, you're gonna take your hot glue gun and you're gonna make a hot glue string from side to side, over and over again, almost like you're manually 3D printing. And over time, as it hardens, go in little segments, but over time, and after you let it dry, it should form this cap that'll keep the LED in place. You wanna hold it just like maybe midway, that way you can still like pry the battery out with your thumb or something if it's dead and you need to replace it. But yeah, that's how you make the battery cap, and that's the last part of the build. This video took a very long time to make, mostly because I lost the footage, but also because of procrastination, so much so that I'm now in a new office space, which I have yet to decorate, and I will. But yes, that's how you make your very own Green Lantern ring, or just any lantern ring of your choosing. You can just pick a different LED and paint it a different color. So I guess the painting wasn't really an important process to film. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep on crafting.